Hi everyone, this is Plague Warrior 1, and we are going to go over Resident Evil Village's story. First of all, I would like to apologize for the past few weeks. I was getting ready for Mother's Day, and so I was not here, but now we're back. Just as a reminder, we do have our first comic book, Forerunners, coming out on June 1st by our company called Zine Comics. And so just remember to back Forerunners on Indiegogo June 1st. What I like to talk about first of all is the villain progression. There are four, I'd say, mini bosses or bosses in the game before you get to the main boss, which is Mother Miranda. The four bosses are Salvatore Moreau, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Angie the Doll, Lady Dimitrescu, and Heisenberg. Whenever you think of Resident Evil Village for right now, everybody thinks of Lady Dimitrescu. You look up Resident Evil Village, you're seeing the thumbnail of her. She's the first boss in the game. She also has 3 daughters, which could be considered mini bosses in the game. And she's the first, the intro. She's the introductory boss. So you defeat her. And then I feel like the next 2 bosses are kind of lackluster. You go to Angie, the doll maker, whoever, and you just kind of walk around. You do have, this, like these other little dolls, and there's this crazy, ugly baby thing. But it just seems so lackluster. I like the way they've done the characters. You have the typical vampire lady. Then you have the doll maker, kind of thinking about like the Chucky people, and I forgot that whoever that one character was. Those movies that came out, she's kind of like with The Conjuring, but she's also a doll. I forgot her name. You've got that little section. You got the Salvatore Moreau, which is kind of like the old school, like ugly monster horror type people, and then Heisenberg. Now I consider him kind of like a Leatherface type of character, and any type of person that does maybe like a Saw, or almost kind of like a throwback to almost Silent Hill. More on Silent Hill later, but I mean each little character is nice, and that has that little, they take up that little subsection. But I feel like the order of it is incorrect. I think that, everybody knows Lady Dimitrescu is like the star. And I think it's kind of cool they want to start out with her. But if you start off with something, you want it to keep getting better, and better. Now they could have done 2 routes. They could have got rid of Angie the Doll Maker and Salvatore Moreau, then just made it the daughters and Lady Dimitrescu and then Heisenberg. Or start off with Salvatore Moreau, because he seems kind of like, no offense to him, but he seems like the lesser villain here. Then go to Angie the Doll Maker. Then go to Lady Dimitrescu. And, if you want to, like, pop her in here and there to show show that she's going to be really cool, go ahead. And then finish off with Heisenberg. I do think Heisenberg is a strong one. Just as strong as Lady Dimitrescu. And I think that the idea of him wanting to betray Mother Miranda and you join up with him is a good finisher before you go to Mother Miranda. So him and Lady Dimitrescu are both really good. I just feel like the other 2 are kind of inferior. And so I feel like starting off with those first is sort of like a progression, building up to better and better and better until you get to the final boss. The other thing I want to talk about is foreshadowing within the story. Good and bad aspects. So, everybody probably knows what foreshadowing is, but just as a quick explanation, foreshadowing is basically a hint or something earlier in the story that then you see as a revelation till later on in the story. Best way to talk about it is what they actually do in the game. So, there's good and bad foreshadowing in this game. Just for those who don't know, like I said, spoilers ahead. if you don't want to hear anything about the game's ending or throughout, then please stop watching the video, go play a game, or go watch the story, then come back. Or if you don't care about it, keep watching. Ethan Winters turns out to be dead throughout this whole game. You're playing a dead person, and it turns out he died in Resident Evil 7. So the good foreshadowing of that is earlier in the game, Lady Dimitrescu sucks your blood from your wrist. I'm talking about near the intro, and she says we better do something with him quick. He's going stale. So I think that's really good, because that could have been a number of things. He got bit by a werewolf earlier, so it could be, he's about to turn into a werewolf, or he's about to die, so we better eat him quick. It could have been a number of things. It didn't really imply that he was dead already. I feel like that's good foreshadowing, because first you think nothing of it, and then when you go back and think about it, you're like, oh my gosh, that's the best type of foreshadowing, is you don't realize it's foreshadowing at first. The bad type of foreshadowing is what else they do in the game, which is there's a part where Lady Dimitrescu cuts off your hand, and then you escape from her, and then you take your hand that's completely been cut off, sprinkle holy water on it, and then reattach it. And the guy doesn't say Ethan doesn't say a single thing about it. He just goes on about his merry way. And you're like, okay, I mean, if I could reattach my hand with holy water, I might be like, well, what's going on here? How can I do that? Does the character already know he's dead? It'd have been different if it had been a severed pinky. Even then, it's kind of sketchy. Or, some character does some type of magic with it, or does something, or something on a smaller scale that you could have had a small explanation for it, but then the big reveal later on that you're actually dead. And the fact that he doesn't bat an eye at it, for him to ask no questions, that he just does it automatically. Either one, it's either careless writing, because it just shows that character doesn't understand what's going on, or two, that he already knows that he's dead. And I don't think he does until like the very end of the story. But tell me your opinion in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next video. Thank you.